Serious.
Yeah, you're really serious. It's just penalty, isn't it? On the big screen. Guys, morning. So we wrote down the timing in a bit more detail than yesterday. We have a full packed day again. From now till 9:15 we'll take to sign the Constitution, make it official. And then from 9:15 onwards, we'll go for an hour to create roles. So within each of the three circles where we get started, create roles within those circles. So we create some reality. And instead of playing with Lego, we'll have some actual roles within the Glassrock circles. And elect your own facilitators, secretaries, reps for each of those circles.
Is it worth noting, so for facilitators, what we've chosen to do is that you'll still elect a facilitator that's within the circle, and initially for the first few weeks, one of Paulina, myself, or Andrew will facilitate, but then the next facilitator will be paying attention during those meetings and learning how to facilitate. But we thought it's better if they know that that's coming right up front, so they know that they need to learn how to facilitate, rather than sort of springing on them a month later and say, oh, like randomly, you're now the facilitator. Hope you paid attention for the last month. So it's better to do that early.
Yeah, exactly. And that will take an hour. Then you guys have a 30 minutes break while me, Andrew, Tim and Paulina will take some hard work to get all those roles into Glassrock, into the tool. So then at 10:45 we should be ready for the first tactical meeting. And then do it for an hour, then a break, and then do the first governance meeting. So by lunchtime you have the first real Holacracy meetings in each of the circles at GrantTree. Then there's lunch. Then the folks that have roles in the alignment circle, the general company circle, which you used to call the anchor circle, I think, will have meetings early afternoon. So if you don't have, you have work time. And then at 3:30 we'll read the Constitution. It's going to be some hard work for an hour to capture whatever that's all written in that Constitution. And then at 4:30 we'll do a wrap-up and be ready by 5.
Katie?
So the tactical meeting and the governance meeting are earlier on in the day, bearing in mind that the GCC is like the whole company one, what circles would they be?
So there's three circles in the company. We looked at the split and stuff. Initially, like the manager role that we defined was supposed to map directly to circles. But when looking at the structure, we decided it made more sense to have a slightly simpler circle structure to begin with, which, to be fair, can change, today or next week, or as soon as there's attention. So the initial circle structure is going to be, there's a tax rates operations circle, a grants operations circle, and a sales circle. Treehouse, there's basically only Tim working in there, so we decided it wasn't worth having a circle for Tim to have meetings with herself.
So you're in the general company circle?
Okay. Yeah. So it was
with that role?
Yeah. So it wasn't worth having meetings with herself. And there's this question of the tax rates business and the grants business rather than just operations. And that was, if we had defined a wrapper around those, that would have created a circle that just contained two circles with not really any rows inside. So that was the tension we had to resolve.
That's all right. I was just thinking that because it just says tactical meeting, I thought it meant that it was only one circle that was doing it at the time. Because then if we're doing all of them at the same time in different rooms, like say Will would be in sales and grants, wouldn't he?
So it's in multiple circles. If you hear those three circles, grants, operations, tax operations, and sales and marketing. Who would raise your hand if you are in more than one of those circles?
Yeah, you definitely are. Okay.
So, make a choice to which session you go. You have to be in two spots at the same time.
Didn't we decide to move the grants meeting to tomorrow to another?
Oh yeah.
We're presenting me and Robin anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's just you and Robin at the moment. It's going to be, even if we have it today, it's going to be probably a 10-minute meeting. So it's we thought we can have that tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's going to be relatively easy to facilitate, especially after you've been to those meetings.
What if Robin might just come along to the sales one just to get a sense of structure?
But I would say that with Lama, he's actually got a role in his house. So he's part of that circle. So what we'll have is basically two meetings going in parallel. One for tax-related operations and one for sales. And yeah, those will be the 2 meetings. And grants we'll do tomorrow, or even early next week. I don't know. Like, we can do one tomorrow and then one early next week.
All right. Signing time.
Signing time. Right.
I'll
Who's excited?
I'll draw out of this life.
The idea was floated to have everyone sign in blood, but I disagreed for my own sake.
For the last time you can still do. Yeah.
Right. So, like, I don't know, like, how do we make this more?
Let's sing happy birthday.
We have a ratification here. So, yeah. So the idea is we're signing it for 3 months, and we'll sign it again. Well, we'll make it permanent in 3 months. And the reason why Paulina and I are signing it is because we're still like the majority shareholders, so we have the power to unsign it. But we also have a constitution with space for everybody to sign, so we can all be part of the signature process.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I feel like there's something missing here.
What is missing is you signing the fucking document.
It's not very easy.
Drums.
The only music that I
We
can
can sing happy birthday. Just sing happy
I need to be rock. I need to be definitely really.
I would like to.
Yeah, I was thinking of the music.
Does anybody have anything they want to say at this point?
No, you sign it.
So time to shine.
That's how things work.
Do you guys know what it is?
Jeff is trying to say something. Jeff?
We sign this now and then we read the thing 6 hours from now?
Yeah. Basically.
Duly noted.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, do you know what they sign up for?
Very
What did they sign?
We sign it with the power.
Well, we said, okay, how about I read what it is we're signing?
Yeah.
This might be helpful. This is might be part of the ritual here. It's a Holacracy adoption declaration. As ratifiers, we hereby adopt the Holacracy Constitution as the governance and operating system within GrantTree, and thereby cede our authority into the Constitution's processes and endow the due results therefrom with the weight and authority otherwise carried by the ratifiers, as further detailed in section 5.1 of the Constitution. The organization adopts the Constitution as of date February 28, 2017, and then it's got the ratifiers' names and signatures. So what this means is that rather than the implicit way that power kind of derived from the shareholders, the power now derives from the Constitution. That is the process that we all agreed to work by. And to, like, so if there's a disagreement about how power works, whether somebody has the right to make this decision or that decision and so on, the Constitution is the source of clarification, rather than going to somebody who seems to have some power and then asking them to clarify the situation.
This is all trumped by the shareholding structure that you have anyway, isn't it?
So the shareholding structure allows us to unsign this, allows us to unratify this if we decide that we need to do that. But then it's clear that we're no longer operating by Holacracy, then we're operating by the previous rules. So it's not going to happen implicitly without anybody noticing it. It's a very discreet event.
There'll be another.
Yeah.
Another ceremony,
That's
we'll be
all.
cheering and like, yeah, we're back to.
And are we reading the Constitution at 3:30?
Yeah. Yeah. So then the pay.
All of it?
All of it. Yeah.
Not just sort of
only,
reading it out loud like a poem, but like.
It's only 41 pages. We'll get through it in an hour easily. I have a great way to do that. So,
We've got this speed reading approach.
Just playing devil's advocate, is there any reason why we don't read it then sign it?
No, because we want to get everybody to sign it.
So it's available online. It's been available online. I mean, we've read it.
haven't you read it?
No.
Well, then you arrived yesterday.
Hold on.
Presumably we're signing this for 3 months because this constitutes some sort of trial period, as in we're testing does this work for us. So to the end of 3 months, I think we should predetermine what a smell test or is it looks like. Can we discuss that? Or has that been discussed?
No, it hasn't. Whether it automatically
been
ceases
discussed.
to exist and you need to sign
No,
again.
that's not what he's asking. He's asking, can we define a test of whether it makes sense to re-sign it or not.
Like that.
I mean, the way that I was planning to do it was to run one last advice process, like of the old system at this point. So with a 2-week period and so on, and get advice on whether to go ahead and keep Holacracy or remove it. So I haven't defined a formal test with formal things I'm looking for, but kind of left it open for feedback from anybody at that point. Does that make sense to you, Robin?
Well, yes and no, because I mean, there's several distinct criteria. I mean, my suspicion is that this seems like a very good system for larger groups. So what happens when, for example, hypothetically, right, for delivery and sales this works, but Grant feels that this is cumbersome. Now, I'm not saying that I'm anticipating that to be the case, but what happens when it fits better for some than others? So how are we defining our need here?
Okay, so what I'm looking at is the need of the company as a whole, and that is like I'm trying to enable the company to be able to grow and to organize itself as it grows. So there is a
you seem to be saying that if you go for a numerical majority, if it's working for most people, then that's a smell test for it working.
It's more about is it working for the company for me than rather is it working for more people. It's not a sort of democracy voting exercise. It's more is it working as a system for the company, and that has to include working for the smaller
team.
teams.
So the company creature that can't articulate that this is working for me.
Sorry, what was the question there?
No, my point was that the company is not a sentient being. It can't articulate that this is working for me. I like this.
No, but I can observe that.
So how is that being measured? Is the question.
So I will be paying attention to that. That's part of my job. So
I guess
sounds like a project you can take up to define.
Yeah, I mean that is one of the things I consider to be my responsibility, which is why I've pushed for us to look at Holacracy and why I put in place the change with the managers to try and get the structure right for the company so we can all work together and scale together. So I consider it my job to go and pay attention to that. And that includes talking to people, and includes paying attention to seeing what happens, how things unfold, where there's problems, and so on.
I like Robin speaking in terms of not just having a smell test, or does it work, does it not work, but if you could come up with a particular criteria and like publish them, like this is what I'm going to be looking at, and just what would be useful from my perspective would be for you to be able to say, okay, this is what's happening in terms of people's, ability to do stuff at the moment. This is what's happening in terms of numbers. This is like a number of the criteria, and then for us to look at exactly the same things in 3 months' time. What those are going to be, just talk to people like Robin and others who might have different perspectives and define those. But that would make me feel like we're doing a really thorough job in terms of actually comparing pre-Holacracy to once the system is implemented, and we're doing ourselves justice as well.
It sounds like you sense this tension and you want these metrics, and please feel free to define them and get them measured. I don't feel this tension. I feel I can actually figure this out without doing a kind of big project with lots of different metrics being defined, but anybody can actually make these kind of decisions.
And for most organizations, it's been a no-brainer 3 months later to continue it or to stop it, not needing a lot of work to go into measuring and stuff like that. But hey, that's a bit anticipating what's going to happen. You hold it in Holacracy implementation role.
Yeah.
Anybody can ask him to take up a project that sounds like, what's the end state
that
here?
definitely sounds like it's part of your role, sorry.
It's his role, it's his project. If you hear him talk, he probably doesn't prioritize it a lot, and if you have attention about it, we can solve it. But,
yeah,
let's take it step by step.
Okay. So
Let's sign this thing.
let's go ahead. Let's sign first.
I have decided on the team.
Hold on, can you pass me the camera?
It's done. Okay, it's done.
And now once
I've been a Ferrari here.
and now once more for the camera.
Now we are free, which are all good.
Now we're
And how you can hold this and point to the signature, like focus it with the button. Press the button.
Which one? Which button? The top?
No, here. Here. Right. And anybody else who wants to also sign? There's also part of there's also the Holacracy Adoption Declaration.
Which button is it, Daniel?
Move forward, but yeah.
To here?
Yeah. Everybody to, because like not everybody has a table and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's for other people. You get them send it through legally sign.
Clear at the moment, so.
yeah, never mind.
We'll send it by mail, send it to
It's like a sisterhood of travel.
Yeah, it's just not okay. Yeah, where is it? Oh, is that where it's? No, it's on autofocus. So I don't know why it's not.
Daniel, and also in 3 months' time, do we want to re-sign if we want to continue, or do we want this to hold power if we want to continue?
I think resign.
I think we can re-sign.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I just wanted that to be specific.
I mean, this one doesn't have a 3-month deadline on it. This one doesn't have a 3-month. This one doesn't have a 3-month deadline, but we can. There's various things we can do. There's various things we can do to make it permanent.
yeah,